morning and all day Saturday. Yeah.
Let me introduce you, Jack. Live, it's the voice of Backgammon from Montreal, the first Montreal Open, Sunday, September 17th, 10:15 a.m. And it's the finals between Knapp and the voice of Backgammon, Larry Shiller. So I will not be commenting, except to myself, during the match. Instead, we've got the honor of having Jack Edelson doing our live streaming commentary, to be joined later by Frank Raposa and Roberto Litzenberger. And Jack, I'm going to turn it over to you. And Jack is also going to be doing the live XG transcription. Can you believe it? Jack is not only going to be doing the commentary, expert commentary, but he's also going to be transcribing real time, and you'll be able to see all my huge blunders right in real time, right here at the voice of Backgammon. Thanks for watching and enjoy.
Well, I think this is going to be a really good match. Knapp has really shown himself, especially in the last few years, to be a really, really strong player. And Knapp is originally from Canada, from the Toronto area, now living in Massachusetts, in central Massachusetts. And Larry Shiller has really made a showing this year. In addition to his voice of Backgammon work, he has, I believe, cast in New York. He was leading for quite a while in Chicago, wound up succeeding there as well. Not again, didn't win the tournament, but did very well. And now he is in the finals against Knapp. So this should be an excellent final match. Two great guys, two people who are just really going to put on a good show for us. Can someone let Larry know that the PRs aren't showing, if you can fix that?
What is it? PR?
Yeah, the PRs aren't showing. Yeah, he needs to fix that here. The PR part is cut off.
The PR's cut off?
No, it isn't. Never mind. It's fine. Never mind.
Is it working?
Oh, no, it is cut off. It is cut off.
Okay, I'm going to text.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix that. Thank you.
The PR is cut off?
Yeah.
Not PR.
It's something that people want to see. So. It might be time if somebody can run in there and let him know.
Tell him?
I can go, I'll go tell him.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah.
Oh, you can't eat in the hallway. Never mind. Stay there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Jay.
Hi. We want to do some quick commentary while the other two are out.
I would like to, but I was supposed to play Frank Calvert. Who I thought
Don't
maybe
do that.
was in here, but in a 1 point quickie. I don't see him here.
I don't know. So unfortunately, this setup he cut off the performance rating, so they're letting Larry know now.
Let's do it without it.
Well, it's
Are we
something
live?
people want to see. Yeah, we're live.
I will do it after the quickie, but I have to.
Sure,
I'm gonna find
sure.
some consolation.
Yeah, we've got Raposa and Litzenberger, so 4 will get a little crowded, but you'd be great, I'm sure.
Luxembourg has to play the finals of the jackpot.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we're not sure when, if at all, Roberto will be able to join us. Roberto won, as those of you who stayed up to 2 a.m. Eastern would know. He stayed up. He was playing late and won the semifinal of the Masters. So he's going to be playing that at some point. I'm not sure who his opponent is or if that's been determined yet. So it looks like the players are almost ready to start. I think Larry's coming over here to fix a little small issue with the setup. The performance rating part of the XG summary is cut off, so we'd like to get that fixed. I don't have the technical know-how. So we just need like a tiny bit more below this. And I wasn't sure how to fix that element, so there you go. That's what I tried. It didn't do it.
If you press the Alt key
Oh,
down
Alt key.
and then click and drag,
All right.
that'll uncrop it for you.
Sounds good. Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, so now we should be ready to go pretty shortly. And as I said, this should be a really good final match between Knapp and Larry Shiller. And we should be ready to go shortly. Looks like Ross Gordon there, moving some boxes, doing the hard work of every tournament director, and many thanks to the staff here. Gary Kalos, our organizer, Ross Gordon, director, and his staff, Andy Fizikis, Ed Corey, Gerhard Roland, and I feel like I'm missing someone. Apologies if I am, but they've done a real tremendous job. It takes a lot of hard work even to run a tournament badly, and they've run a tournament well. So they definitely deserve a lot of credit here. And definitely consider the October tournament in Connecticut. That will be held on, I believe, the third weekend. If you check chicagopoint.com and click Mark Your Calendar at the top, you will see a list of upcoming tournaments. October 19th, October 22nd. I know Florida is October 5th to 8th. There is Denver as well. I don't remember the dates on that. Mid-November has Las Vegas, and in December will be the last tournament of the year in Los Angeles. And our players are ready to go. There we go. On the lapel mic, and the initial roll goes to, is a 4-1 for Larry Shiller. This is a normal play. You can also slot. I know Larry is often fond of making the game more complicated by slotting, but he decides to split. Chris Knapp copies him correctly. 5-1 for Larry. This is not an ideal roll. He can play probably one down from the midpoint just because there aren't many constructed fives, and maybe bring the more advanced of his split checkers in the back up one to give it a little more daylight, and that is what he does. The bot actually doesn't like that. It prefers the ultra safe play, but it's hard to convince yourself to make a very stacky play like that. Chris Knapp makes the strongest point he can make, the 5 point, and Larry follows suit. So both players have achieved an important opening objective, and it looks like a complicated game, but a double 5 for Chris Knapp. Double 5s for Chris Knapp, and now Larry is in big trouble. He's got 2 checkers on the bar against a 4-point board, and he managed to enter both of them. That is big. That probably staves off the cube. But no, Chris Knapp is doubling. This is much too early according to the bot. The problem here is that Larry entered both checkers, and Chris doesn't have much attacking material, and Larry has his 5 point. And when you have your 5 point, this means if you ever get to hit a shot, you've got a chance. So I think this cube was a bit too early, and XG thinks it was quite a bit too early, but it's not a bad roll following it up, double 4s. Unfortunately, for Chris, these back checkers are stuck, and he plays 2 off of the 6 point. Wow, I did not expect that. It's not rolling by too much. I didn't see what Larry's roll was, but he did not enter, and now double 1s for Chris. That is very good. So Chris makes a 6 point and plays 23-22. Very reasonable play. Larry rolls double 5s. That does not work. 5-4, so he's going to hit, he just wants to close Larry out and get a gammon, get a nice easy gammon, a nice 4 points to start this match. 4-3 though, Larry's still kicking. 4-3, he gets to enter one checker, put Chris on the bar, that slows Chris's momentum. 1-5, he's going to hit again, even though he doesn't have direct cover, because he needs to keep Larry from anchoring. That is a clear play, I think. 1-3, does not enter there. He fans 4-3. He's probably going to bring the 4 down, I would think, and split with the 3 to get his back checkers. I mean, that really leaves him vulnerable to double 4s. So he might play the 3 down, and now that he's got a 6 cover, which is the most numbers he can get when you're 6 away, because 6s work, and then in wider variety of smaller numbers work, he can play the 4 in the back. But he decides to play the 3 down, the 4 down, and then split with the 3. That's double 2s from Larry. He fans, and now 5-1 gets the closeout. And he comes up in the back. No need for Larry to roll now. It's a 5-3, and Chris Knapp needs only to find ways to make sure he avoids getting his back checker stuck, which should not be too difficult. These plays aren't that important. Larry needs to just make sure he doesn't have any accidents and to avoid the gammon. This is Jack Edelson here with the voice of Backgammon for the Montreal Open Finals. So 6-1, and he just wants to make sure that neither double threes nor double fours force him to break a point, and with this play they do not. That play is correct. So if you look at the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you will see the move list, which shows when there's an error or blunder. So an error will be in green, that's and a blunder which would be in red. So 6-5. For those of you not technically oriented, a blunder is a big error. 6-5, and this is a pretty good distribution. 5-2. This is not a bad roll at all. It's just trying to walk this home. Double fours. That'll put his spares a bit deeper than he'd like if he plays, well, however he plays it. He decides to take a checker off. Maybe slightly wrong according to the bot, but not a big deal. He decides to clear the 5-point with 2 checkers up for the opponent. That's right, because there's no prospect of the opponent entering behind you, so you don't have to worry about. You have the luxury of minimizing shots without having to worry about trying to force the opponent to come in behind you. So any 2 big numbers that aren't the same will leave a shot, and Chris leaves a shot, and he doesn't look happy about it. See the 2 players right there, Chris Knapp on top, Larry Shiller on the bottom, but Larry misses, and that should be all she wrote for this game. Chris should be able to walk this home for a gammon. Now I would just even consider the very safest play, which is to play 4-2 here, move the back 1-2, and then take off with the 4. That is the very safest play because you don't risk leaving a shot with doubles if Larry dances. That is a 4-1, it looks like. 4-3, 4-5, something that takes 2 off. Whoops. Oh, God. All right, so it is a 4-point lead for Chris. I'm sorry about that. There was just a little snag with the XD transcription, but I am back and ready to go here. So Larry Shiller, Chris Knapp. Chris Knapp has an early 4-0 lead, but they don't seem to have scored this correctly because they've given Larry Shiller 4 points on the scoreboard. Surely that will be corrected soon, or at least the next time they go to score something. 5-2 for Larry Shiller, who is down 4-0 despite what you see on the scoreboard. I really hope they correct that. For anyone tuning in late thinks that Larry is up 4-0, it's actually Chris. 5-4, he hits, and he's probably going to come down here. Maybe splitting was better. Yes, it was. And not hitting. 1-6. Larry likes to play down. He likes these aggressive plays. I don't agree with that at all. You come out when your opponent has that blot. Ooh, that's right by a decent margin, actually. So I take back my criticism. Guess he duplicates his opponent's 6s, which may be a relevant consideration here. 5-4 makes the points. 4-1, he's going to make his bar point, and I suspect come down. With his opponent having a deep point, there's less need to anchor and more need to avoid getting attacked. And they seem to be correcting the score right now. They have a little laugh about it. And it is 4-0 in favor of Chris Knapp, as the score now correctly indicates. So 6-3. And Chris, he already has his 3 points, so he's just going to run out a back checker, I think. No, he does not. That surprises me. And that's definitely wrong by a lot. That is a 0.4 blunder. That is a huge blunder by the standard of these players. Chris is certainly a much better player than he's shown so far. And we'll likely see that later in this match. That 15.65 number that you see is going to come down. Lower PRs are better for those of you not familiar. And I bet that's going to go down by about 10 by the time this match is over. Chris is a very good player, but I don't understand why he wouldn't just run from the back with that 6-3. Why expose a blot and leave two checkers back behind Larry's prime that he's trying to make? So 6-4 is a bit of a tough play. He can bring two down to make a 4 prime and have some builders expand the prime, but that would cost him his midpoint. He might want to run a checker. He decides he's looking at bringing two down. He could have also run a checker all the way or run a checker part of the way with a 6 and come down with the 4. Oh, that seems way too big, leaving too many blots. Or he can run all the way with the 6-4, which is what he's looking at now. So several reasonable options here. He looks at the ultra big play. This isn't Larry's style. Larry makes big plays. He's not someone to be a shrinking violet and worry about leaving a couple of blots here and there. But this surely is too much to ask of the position. He's outboarded 2-1. You're leaving 1s, 2s, and 6s. That's surely asking too much of the position. Now he looks at a 4th play, making the 2-point. I don't know about this. He has some good priming chances, but at the same time, this equalizes the boards. And this is what makes backgammon a challenging game, right? You have lots of different plays that do good things, and you have to figure out which of these things are the best balance of risk and reward. You got to take some risks. It seems like the players are engaged in a little conversation here. Definitely, despite the high stakes of this backgammon, for these guys, backgammon is a social game, and for many people it isn't. And Larry seems like he's inclined to run here. But, on a play like this that's difficult, you take your time. You definitely think it over. Larry's doing the right thing and taking a couple of minutes on his clock right now. So each player, it's an 11-point match, the standard time control, that each player has 2 points, 2 minutes per point of the match. So each player has 22 minutes with a 12-second time delay to allow people to roll their dice without having any time ticking. So your clock does not start until 12 seconds have been used. And if you make a play within 12 seconds, you use no time. So Larry runs, and let's see what the bot thinks. It does not like it at all. The bot preferred to come down 2 at the midpoint, and that's actually a surprisingly large mistake. And we see what happened to Larry's PR after that play. I'm really surprised it was that big. I didn't necessarily have a strong inclination on that play. So double 6s. This is a bit awkward. Double 6s, he has little better, it seems, than to attack with these 6s. And what will he do with the other 2? The consistent attacking play is to make the 2-point, but that leaves 3 blots. I would look around to try to see if there's anything better than making the 8th one, because this is just so awkward. Maybe he could have kept the bar point, made the 2-point with the checkers from the 14 and the 8, and then played in, leaving a slot there to be hit. But I would definitely consider what it looks like if I don't make the 8th one, because this is just a mess. He's got blots all over the board. He's got the worst possible point. He's got the goalpost there of the, these plays are a mess. I really would consider keeping the bar point here. But he does not do that. He's still looking. So if we go back to XG here for a second. Why not consider a play like, help if I use the right computer, and I don't want to lose track of the game, so I'm going to go right back here. So maybe you could consider a play like making the 2-point and then slotting the 3-point or running out with the 6, probably slotting the 3-point from the initial position, which is showing on your screen now. But back to the video, Larry is still deep in thought. Just to show you the play I like, it's this one. much cleaner than making the ace point. But it still has its liability, so I can see where Larry didn't want to do it. But he didn't look at anything that doesn't involve making the ace point. And sometimes you think two of them are automatic and they're not. Maybe this is right. Time will tell. I will actually press the hint button and find out in advance here. Actually, Larry would be right to make the ace point, but my play is not too bad either. My play would be a .05 error, which is not too bad. No, that's the wrong. My play would be a .067 error, which is so we see the top plays here on XG. There are several contenders, which is why Larry's taking his time on this. There are 5 plays that are reasonable here. And let's see if Larry comes up with one of the 5. He does. So he hits on the ace. He slots the 3-point and he plays 14-8. Actually, that's not bad at all. So a 6-4. He enters with the 4 and keeps it going. That keeps it connected, unlike moving the other back checker. This is right. So Larry's play is not bad, not too bad. It was slightly better than my play, but not best. 4-5. He's going to cover here. Very natural. And it looks like a 4 and something else. Our video feed seems to have cut out for a second. And once we have the video back, I will tell you what that roll is. Okay. Not sure if you guys can hear me, but we seem to have had a little mishap with the video. It's there we go. Double 4s for Chris. The video is becoming a little less reliable right now, unfortunately. But Chris makes the 5-point with double 4s. Hopefully these connectivity issues will resolve themselves soon. So Chris Knapp up 4-0 here. And he makes what's a pretty normal looking play with the double 4s. And is that double 4s again? Yes. Double 4s for Larry. And I'm sorry, our video is having issues here. I think Larry will make the 2-point. Doesn't want to leave more blocks, but making the 4-point. But he could also run to the midpoint, which seems actually better because his position can't withstand so many blots. And this is right. And another set of 4s. I'm not sure if our video is just messed up or it's not rendering dice, but these guys are playing them like double 4s. So it must be. Now Larry sits back, thinks about the cube. He's up 6 pips. Isn't enough to double in a race. No, he's not thinking about the cube. Oh, yes, he is. So 6 pips is not enough to double in a straight race, but he has attacking chances. Or are they discussing the legality of the play? No, he is doubling. It's a reasonable double. You got a race lead and attacking chances. Chris has to take this. And it's a good double, good take. Double 3s. He can hit, but that doesn't seem to be the play. I might play 2 down here. Safety in the blot is clear, but you've got an 18-pip race lead after the play. So rather than making the 5-point, I think you want to play 2 down. Clear the midpoint. Make it easier to just bring this home. You're putting pressure on the 4-point blot. If Chris runs it, he goes into a bad race. If he keeps it back, he's likely to get pointed on. That's a good play by Larry. The 5-point is the most important point on the board, generally speaking, but in certain positions, it's less important. Understanding how the value of points changes is key to a backgammon player, right? What's the best thing to do in one position is not always the best thing to do in all positions. So a 5-2 to play. Chris is Again, down 18, so he's not inclined to run, even if he's getting a little nervous about Junior back there. And he makes the right play, I think, just slotting the next point. 6-2, good roll for Larry Shiller. Makes the 4-point on Chris's head. Chris is going to have a hard time winning this game, although accidents can happen. He enters on the 5. He'd rather enter on the 2 for more contact. But he makes a 4-point, which gives him... 5-1's a very powerful roll. No better way to bring it home than to keep making points on your opponent's head. 2-1 enters quickly, which minimizes the gammon danger. It still could happen if he gets closed out with the other checker core on the midpoint. But Chris is definitely most likely not to be gammoned here, and he still could win. If Larry plays like this, say a 6-5, next turn can be trouble. He'll leave a shot. There's a 6-5, but unfortunately for Chris rolled it, not Larry. He's going to want to keep a checker back. He's down 27 pips right now, 16 after the roll, so he can run. He's deciding how to play it, and the 6 down and then 5 to the 1 point seems most logical. But he may be deciding, do I want to leave a blot if there's an exchange of hits? I say yes, because you're likely to be able to cover that blot anyway. Say Larry does roll that awful 6-5, and then Chris rolls a 2-2, 2-4, 2-5, or 2-6, he could hit and cover. Although with a 2-5 and 2-6, he'd like to be able to run. So maybe having that blot is a bit of a liability. That said, if Larry doesn't get a shot if Chris doesn't get a shot this turn, he might get it later, and having the ace point would be nice. But honestly, this decision is not going to matter enough that I would be using my clock time on it. Whichever one is wrong is going to be wrong by not very much. Actually, maybe he's thinking about running, and XG likes to run here. And Chris finds the right play. He realizes that the race is bad, but it's not so bad that hoping for a 6-5 is, and then a return shot on a very rare number, that's actually worse chances than going for the race, which avoids getting pointed on. But the race doesn't work out as it turns out because Larry rolls double 5s. And now this is going to be all but impossible for Chris to come back from. So that was a really nice play by Chris. He realized that staying back might get him a shot, but more likely it was just going to get him pointed on, which would really end his chances. And it wasn't worth it for him. So 2-1 to play here, and now a 3-2, and this is pretty routine. I don't know that Chris is playing this accurately. He's here, rather than spreading your checkers out, you might be trying to maximize the number of sets that you really benefit from. But it's not a huge error, although it is technical. But double 5s still is a bit too little to get him truly back in things. 6-5 is a nice roll for Larry. 4-2 takes 2 off. 4-3 takes 2 off. Chris is going to need a set, and that ends it. 3-2. He can't win this, and he resigns the game. So I'd like to quickly thank our sponsors here. We have the USBGF, the US Backgammon Federation, which does tremendous work for backgammon and is generously supported our streaming here at the Voice of Backgammon. And also John Perner with Gammon Stuff. Great site for all your backgammon needs, except for those that cannot be solved by material possessions alone. So 4-2 lead for Chris. Got off to a good start with that gammon in the first game, but Larry comes back with 2 points of his own. Larry with a 6-4. 3 reasonable plays here. You can run all the way, you can split, or you can make the 2 point. It is a bit of a score-dependent decision. At this score, it's largely a matter of what play are you most comfortable with, the positions that arise from it? At certain scores, though, you should definitely make whatever is the score, the play that the score calls from. 6-3, he hits. 3-1, enters, and he can hit with the ace. I think you definitely want to come in with the 3. You don't want to play 3 checkers to the ace point. It's not like the ace that you'll play is so bad that you can't afford it. He could play 6-5. I don't know about 11-10. I would just slot. You've got 3 checkers back already. Make the bold play. And this is wrong, and indeed, hitting would be better than the play that was made, and slotting would also be better than the play that was made. So a 6-3 points makes the 3-point. And these guys, they've been playing a lot of backgammon this weekend. You know, sometimes it wears on you a little. And, you know, both these players are capable of playing very, very good backgammon. I'm sure we're likely to see some. So Chris can make the 3-point on Larry's head, or he can make the 9-point hitting on the way, which seems very, very strong. And that's what he does. And now 5-2. Comes in, makes the 5-point. 3-1. Comes down to the 9. Very logical. Gets some nice distribution of spares. 5-1, and I suspect the 5-point will be slotted here. If nothing else, just to unstack the 6-point. That's correct. 6-5, he's going to run all the way around. He needs to... When your main problem is that you've got a checker caught in your opponent's home board and you have the opportunity to get it out of there, you get it out of there. That's got to be right. And it's got to be pretty clear, and Larry does it, and it's correct. 6-5. So he certainly can hit and keep it going with the idea that backgammon's a race, and you get a chance to hit a checker, and you do it. Does give up the advanced anchor, but the fact is all other 6-5s are pretty awkward. You could run the back checker all the way and try to play a 5-point holding game. And that is indeed what Chris does. I don't know. I would have hit that. And yes, he should have hit there. 6-4 makes the bar point a very strong roll. What happens if you don't hit is you just get caught in a bar point holding game, a 5-point holding game, when you're an underdog. You got to fight a bit more aggressively for to bring your game forward. It's better to try to go forward than to go back. Now, according to XG, this is actually would have been a double pass had Larry put the cube out. That's a bit surprising to me. Although I feel like we've seen a similar situation, a recent voice of backgammon screen with a position like this that was a double and a pass. So I wish my co-commentaries who know more about this game than I do, Frank Raposa and Roberto Litzenberger, were here, and maybe they could provide a better explanation of this. But the fact is that Larry has a 37-pip racing lead, and Chris doesn't have any sort of home board whatsoever. So Larry could do things like the play he's looking at, trying to force Chris off of his ace point at a time when getting hit is not that dangerous. In fact, if you're going to leave a shot anyway, I would rather... Sometimes you want your opponent on your ace point. When he's playing this sort of anchor plus holding game, that ace point, especially when Larry has not made any points, can be very useful. Chris has the time to hold it for a while, and if Larry rolls awkwardly, say a 6-1 at some point soon, that having that checker back generates shots. But at the same time, playing 4-3 down makes it very likely that Chris will be Larry will be able to make a point next turn. He hits on the ace. I like it. XG likes it. Everybody likes it. Yay, Larry. So 2-3 makes the point. 1-2. And this is again a double for Larry, although it's not as bad. So I actually have errors in blue here, not in green. That's how my XG is set up. So those of you used to the red-green defaults, I actually have it in red and blue, as I just realized. And the blue doesn't necessarily show up great on the on the stream, so maybe I will change that when I get it if the players go on break. 8-7, 8-6 was a small error on Larry's part. He should have just played 9-6. Not a huge deal. There's no real reason to break the 8-point though. It's still more an asset than a liability. It's a landing spot. 3-2. He doesn't really want. Why do you make the ace point here? You make the 4-point. This is wrong. You should have made the 4-point. That's an important, the places where you run into trouble are when you have to play the points in front of your opponent. So you make the points in front of your opponent, not behind them if you have the choice. So that's a play I don't really understand from Larry. It shouldn't be that costly, but in backgammon, any error can cost you. But any good play can cost you too in backgammon. So it's a cruel game that way. Double threes for Mr. Knapp. He's deciding whether he wants to just make the 2-point here, with a good chance of making a 5-point board very soon. He's down 28 pips in the race after the roll. He gives up the midpoint, decides he doesn't really have the timing to hold it. I don't know about that play. I think he does have the timing to keep the midpoint and try to make up the board. And indeed, the bot agrees at 8-2, making the 2-point is better. Now Larry, a bit belatedly, is debating whether or not he wants to double. So Larry has some strong rolls here. He can make a home board point. But now Chris has a board, right? He has, when Larry could have doubled earlier, when Chris didn't have a board, and some lucky rolls could have allowed Larry to bring it home pretty quickly. Now Chris has a board, so any lapse in rolling by Larry can really be painful. But at the same time, he's up 28 pips. He has chances to clear the midpoint with a set or with 6-4. So I think this is a good double. And Chris will have to think about whether he wants to take it down so far in the race. But he should take it. I think it was double take. The bot, I'll tell you what the bot thinks in a minute. But I think it was double take. It was indeed a small no double and a take. So Larry may have missed some cubes earlier, but he correctly does not cube here. And definitely there are plenty of ways that things can go wrong for Larry, even if he even if he's able to safety all his checker, bring his midpoint home safely. There's still a lot that can go wrong, largely as a consequence of him not having made his 4-point. If he had his 4-point, he probably could have doubled that position. But since he didn't, he had to leave the cube in the middle. Every roll is a doubling decision at this point. When you have a race lead, when you have some threats, every roll is a doubling decision. And again, I would probably put the cube out there. You got a big race lead. You got some good rolls. You put the cube out. That's a good double. Good take. Now they had only one checker on the mid. It's easier to clear. He plays 4-1. He decides to hit. Probably not much else available there. 4-3. He's going to enter on the 3-point. You want to stay a little deep and to increase your chance of hitting a shot. 3-1. Safety's the blot on the midpoint. You don't want to be leaving fly shots there. This is right. Seems pretty clear. 6-2. Not a bad roll by Chris. Just makes another home board point. Excuse me. And it's 2-2 here. This is not bad either. 2-2 will make the 4-point. Fills in that gap that could be problematic. Unfortunately, he doesn't get a chance to distribute his spares anymore nicely. But still, making the 4-point is important. 63, and this is where it's starting to get a little awkward for Chris. Chris doesn't want to bust up his board. That would be the worst thing to do. He can't move his back checkers. He's going to have to come off of his anchor or bust up his board. And he decides that he doesn't want to risk giving the anchor. I don't like that. You can't win if you don't have a home board. So you have to sacrifice the anchor before you sacrifice the home board, unless there are a lot of more gammons in the air than there actually are. That was not the play that I entered in XG. And then double threes. This is a crasher. Oh no, it isn't a crasher. He can come out of his anchor there. I didn't thought that was stuck. 4-2 is really nice. 4-2, you just make the 5 point. What is there to think about here? Hitting? No. This is as long as you get where you need to go, the journey doesn't matter as much. It's all about the destination. Why pile 2 checkers on the 11 point? Why not keep them spread out and have a direct cover for the 4? It's not a big deal, but I don't like that play. 6-3. That's a shot. 6-3 is a shot. You might as well hit if you're leaving the shot, but that's a shot. Chris Knapp's play was almost tied. So 9-6, 9-3 I think is right. I don't see why you'd do anything else. 9-3, 7-4, even though it's a 2-ball play, is a little better according to XG, but this is close. 3-4, he hits. And this keeps Chris in the game. 2-1, he bounces, and now Chris is doing well. He briefly gives the cube some thought, realizes he doesn't have enough. Oh, he does have enough, according to XG. He should have doubled. 3-1. He's got a 4-point board. He had a really nice redouble there. 3-1 fans, and now Chris is redoubling. If you're so quick to redouble after only a small improvement with that 3-1, you should have spent a little more time thinking about it the last turn, I think. Chris has a 5-point board, not really an easy prospect of filling in the 6th. Chris is way up in the race, he's up 11 pips, and Larry has a lot of wastage on the ace point. So in retrospect, yes, it seemed like a pretty likely double last turn, and I just assumed that since Chris threw out the dice so quick, I didn't look at the pip count. But once I see that Chris is ahead in the race, it seemed like a pretty clear double. And now that's 11 pips. This is a tough position for Larry to take. He's got the big stack on the ace. He's hoping to come in. Chris is a favorite to roll a 5 or a 6 right now, and if he doesn't, he's certainly a big favorite to do in 2 turns. I don't think this is a take, but the fact is that XG thought it was a take last turn, and Chris's position hasn't improved much. So probably the bot thinks it's borderline, but I would be taking this, and Larry takes it, and he's well within his rights to do so. According to the bot, it was a small take. So he runs. Larry fanned. And now a 3-1 to play. He plays the 3 down. And now there's an ace he has to play. So the question is, do you leave more blots for the sake of trying to get better distribution? I think what Chris did is right. 6-1 fans. I enter the 6-2. Doesn't really matter. 3-1. And I'll correct it. 3-1 comes to the 5-point, very natural. 2-1 fans, and Chris has this game well under control, so that's backgammon for you. You're hoping to get the last minute shot, you hit it, you got to turn the cube to 4, and you bring it home. Larry just quickly decides his best chances in a race. Not so sure about that, or at least the bot isn't. But Larry is so sure about that he rolls double 4s. So he brings it around, and there's a puny 3-1. Takes a checker off, fills in the gap. 3-2, brings 2 in. Chris still way ahead in this race, but he's rolling small. He's giving Larry every chance to come in back with a big roll. 4-1, last I checked, is pretty small. 3-3 is pretty big. When you're ahead in the race and you roll bigger, you usually win. 6-1 takes 2 off. 6-2 takes 2 off. Just take checkers off. Not difficult to play this sort of position. Takes 2 off there. 3-1, just keep your checkers spread out since you can't take any off. This way any number will get you a checker off. 2-1. He's going to pull a checker and play 6-4. I don't see any reason to do anything else here. He's looking at 5-3, but it seems to me that 6-4 makes the most sense. And that's what the bot likes. The right play gives him 0.6% chance to win. The wrong play gives him 0.5%. But any 0.1% matters, so he makes the right play. And a 6-2 here for Chris, a 4-1 and a 4-3, and it's gin. So sorry, just catching up on XG here. So Larry Shiller down 8-2 here to 11. So Chris has a commanding lead, but last night we saw an 11-point match between Alan Grunwald and Roberto Litzenberger that Roberto managed to pull out after being down 8-0. So 8-2 is a much better situation for Chris. So 6-3 makes the standard play of splitting. I like it. 4-1, another standard play. 6-6 bounces, not good for Larry, who is chuckling at his misfortune. Chris Knapp gleefully rolls on, and he should put a second checker on the bar. So apparently because of his big match lead, instead of coming down and hitting, Chris should have split and hit. Not the standard play, but at score it's best. Now in exchange of 4-1s, Larry entered both checkers. Chris can make the 5 point despite leaving 3s and 6s everywhere, and that seems like the best play because there's no real safe play. Instead, he decides to attack. I don't know. I'd play for structure here. Yeah, that is wrong by a good margin. You make the 5 point. That gives you a much more enduring advantage than hitting loose when you don't really have any big follow-up and you have 3 blots around the board. If that's the best you've got, you just make the 5 point and leave the blots. Larry plays a 2-1. He actually should have slotted with the ace. He's got 3 checkers back already. He's down in the match. A lot of the bold play criteria come into play there. 6-4 is a bit awkward. He's making the 2 point, but he has 3 checkers back, which those don't go really well together, but he doesn't have anything better. A 6-3 to play. 6 down, 3 down. Very normal, very natural. Chris is well in control of this game, and he would be considering doubling if it weren't for the match score, which makes him a bit more reluctant to turn the cube in a position where there are gammon wins available. After all, a gammon gets into Crawford without turning the cube, and if he does turn the cube, a gammon's only worth 3 points instead of 4. And while you'd rather have 3 points than 2, you don't want to run the risk of the opponent being able to turn it back to 4 and winning a gammon and getting it to Crawford for himself. 4-3 makes the 3 point. Here, Larry's 6-2 is a little doubtful. Larry fanned, and now a 2-1. And Larry's just having fun. He knows this match has not gone his way, but he also knows, both players know, that anything can turn around. It's been pretty one-sided so far, but anything can happen. 4-4 is a nice roll, enters, hits, and he has 2 more to play. He's going to maybe play 13-5, maybe just run 24-16. There's no time to run. The last thing Chris has to do to win this game is to bring his back checkers around. There's no better time to do when the opponent's on the bar. Yes, you're relinquishing some of your attack on Larry's blot, but you just want to win the game here. This is also very reasonable. It could be right. It is right. There's not much risk, and there is something to gain by hitting. So 4-3, he'll probably bring the 4 in. He doesn't want Larry to be able to make his ace point if he rolls 2 aces in a row. So I bring the 4 in as a builder for the ace point. I don't agree with this play. It's better than my play. Larry fanned 2-1, and that's a cover and lift. Double fives, fans, and this is not going well for Larry. We may have a well, let's not talk about match outcomes yet, because there's a lot of backgammon to be played. But if Chris holds on, we will have a Canadian champion, albeit one living in America, for the first ever American Backgammon Tour event, first ever USBGF sponsored event in Canada. It seems like the right way to play double ones. You just maximize your ability to cover the ace point. 6-2 to play. Makes his bar. Pops out. Pretty normal. 2-6 from the bar. That's an excellent roll for Larry. He's going to need a lot more, but this is a good start. You come in and you hit. 4-2. Enters with the 4. Plays safe with the 2. Double 4s. This is, again, not bad. You get to hit, but you're going to need to follow up with some 6s soon. But this is not bad in terms of the rolls that were available to Larry. It's not very. Still has a very long way to go. He should hit here. He does hit here. Can't just let the opponent freely escape. You got to try to attack and run at the same time, which is very hard here. 5-3 looks good until you realize it doesn't do anything. 5-3, he's just going to play safe here. And rightly so. 42. Run. I don't want to get greedy here and risk that, my opponent either hits or rolls double 6s and gets more containment. I just run. Actually, double 6 is strong here too, but I like this. I like just running. Larry doing the shake. And a 6-1. Has to pop out with a 6 if he's going to try to win this game. Could also make the 3-point to avoid getting hit. That's also an option. Actually, there aren't. This way, if there's an ace and a 4, ace and a 4, that could be a little difficult for Chris. He could safety up with the ace, but then he doesn't have a good 4. Oh, he'd hit. Yeah, I don't know. I think you make the 3-point here, which Larry considers. He seems to quickly reject it. There's not actually that much gain from coming out right now, so I would have made the 3-point. They're about equal, actually, those two plays. Making the 3-point is about equal to Larry's play. Whoops. So there's a 6-3 played there. Okay, I'm a little behind here. There's a fan, and it looked like double 6s. And now 2-1. And 4-1. Sorry, I just had to catch up with the bot because I accidentally hit the E button, which means edit, and then remove the checker from the board. 3-2 comes in. And this could very well be a gammon, depending on how this goes. $6-4 to play here. And it's about a 50-50 proposition, according to XG, whether there will be a gammon here. Chris makes a more conservative play, which given the match score is correct. He doesn't want to give Larry a chance to turn this game around, maybe turn a cube out if things go really well, win a couple of points. He's just playing pretty cautiously here. 3-2. He's probably going to continue in that vein by clearing the 6 point. And he does. Clearing from the back is always the safest. It may not be the right play when if that's not right, you want to come to the 11, I think, so you have an extra cover for the 5 point, but not a big deal. 4-1 takes 2 off. 6-3. Yeah, Larry's very much in gammon save mode here. 6-2, no shots. Again, there's the risk of a 6-5, 6-4, or 5-4 leaving a shot. Larry decides he doesn't want to risk getting gammoned. He brings a checker out, comes to the 6 and to the 15. This may be taking the gammon save concept a little too far because he's got good chances to save the gammon. So I would have kept a better distribution of covers. And indeed, this is wrong by a little bit. The clock seemed to... Chris is on roll. Chris is thinking about whether he just wants to cash this game. He's worried that he'll leave... That Larry has largely saved the gammon. Chris could roll 6-4, 5-4, or 6-5 and leave a shot. But Larry doesn't have much of a board. And if you roll a set at some point... You know, the gammons are thin, but you don't lose much either. So Chris takes a roll, doesn't leave a shot, and that's a 4-3 for Larry. And again, Chris will think about whether to cube. He does not. He rolls the 3-2, which is perfectly safe. 3-1. Again, I would just. There are a lot of block numbers here. Any deuce. Or a lot of deuces. 2-2 doesn't leave a shot. 2-1 doesn't leave a shot. But the others do. So I would stay back, make the 5 point. I like this play. That's the right idea. Double sixes, that's great for the gammon and great for leaving a shot. And will Larry hit? Will Larry hit this? No, he does not. He's got to run. And now there are some real gammon chances here. Chris is likely to need a set. And there is a set. There is a set. Fours or better get off the gammon. Threes don't work, but that's 3-1, which will not do it at all. And it is Crawford. It is Crawford. So it is a big lead. It is 10-2 Crawford. So that's 9 away Crawford. I have a table on my computer somewhere that indicates what the match winning chances are, but I can't say that because one of the players is in the room and I can't give them that information.
I'm not looking.
So, again, thanks to our sponsors, the U.S. Backgammon Federation doing great work to promote the game of backgammon. Check out the United States Backgammon Federation and also check out gammonstuff.com for all your backgammon stuff needs. Jack Edelson here with the voice of backgammon for the Montreal Open final. And both players on break. Chris Knapp always has the beaver and a raccoon. So in money games, players can beaver or raccoon cubes when somebody puts out a really bad double. Somebody can say, it's so bad, not only am I taking the double, but I want to take it on a higher number. I'll turn it up to 4. That's called beavering. And if the player who double says, you know what, I disagree, let's make it even higher, I'm going to raccoon. So Chris always has these beavers and these raccoons in his board, and they're absolutely adorable. And one of the staff members here had an aardvark. So he gave Chris an aardvark, which is very few places allow this, but one step beyond the raccoon, if the players want to turn up even higher, is an aardvark. So now Chris has an aardvark in his board, and you see they're laid out on the board right now, the beaver, the raccoon, and then the aardvark in the middle. Aardvark should be at the end, but for aesthetic purposes, it's the smallest one. It fits well in the middle here, and the players are on break, and the animals are out, and Larry is in a great deal of trouble. So 9 away, Crawford is, it's 32, 25, 18, 15. I believe it's 5.6% for Larry to win this match if my match equity tables are right. And if I check my match equity table in Extreme Gammon, if you go to the Analyze menu, there's a match equity table, and the default table says it is indeed 5.6% on the dot. So you don't have to memorize these numbers. I find it useful to memorize Crawford match equities because they do determine some take points of cubes. But according to the match equity table, it's 5-6 Crawford. Now, if Larry wins 1 point here, he gets up to 10.91. If he wins a gammon, it's not worth quite as much. It just takes away the free drop for the opponent that gets him up to 11.56. Winning a backgammon at the Crawford game would get him to 18.07%. But losing this game would get Larry to 0%, and Chris will win the tournament. So 10-2 is the match score right now. And just to show you the match equity table, for those of you who have not used the feature, I went to the Analyze menu and then selected Match Equity Table, and it gives you this, and it highlights the current game in blue and then the potential results. Well, it doesn't show the 0%, of course, that would arise if Chris wins, because that's not that interesting. All right, I've got to close this match equity table because Larry Shiller has walked in.
Am I looking?
Yep, and
you can get us
oh
on
yeah,
the scene.
yeah.
Chris is just doing a bathroom break, and we'll be ready like in 60 seconds.
Sounds good. So we're going to get started shortly. Larry walked in to tell me that they'll be starting in 60 seconds. So Larry playing quite nicely so far, 5.62. Which is probably a bit above average for an open player these days. Chris Knapp is playing at 7.2. That's probably around what you see the average open player playing thereabouts, maybe a point or so either way. But Chris is both these players are capable of even better than they're playing. But it's a long weekend. It's not an easy game. And fatigue tends to set in. Larry was up late last night helping out with commentary. And very generous of him when he had an important match the next day to stay up and help me out during the match. Roberto and Alan Grunwald last night playing in the Masters in their semifinal. So here in Montreal again, to thank our sponsors again, the U.S. Backgammon Federation and GammonStuff.com. Thanks again to the great staff here in Montreal. Definitely urge you to put this on your calendar if it comes up again next year. Definitely urge you to go to Connecticut, where we've got most of the staff minus Gary Kalos. Definitely urge you to, and with a couple of others who are not here today, according to the brochure. And definitely urge you to check out some of the other great events on the American Backgammon tournament. Go to chicagopoint.com. They have lists. If you click Mark Your Calendar of upcoming events, if you click on, there's also a link to a list of USA backgammon clubs. If you're thinking of taking up the game, no better place to start than at your local club if there is one. Generally, you'll find people to be very, very welcoming of new players. That was my experience. I live in Madison, Wisconsin, and have made some wonderful friends in the backgammon community, starting at my very own club. So definitely, if you're on Twitch, just flipping around, you came upon our site and you want to learn more, go to the U.S. Backgammon Federation's website. Just Google United States Backgammon Federation or put in whatever your preferred search engine is. go to chicagopoint.com and click on Mark Your Calendar to get a list of upcoming events. These are great resources for you to learn about what sort of backgammon events are available in your community and in the community as a whole. Larry sharing a laugh on the bottom with Ross Gordon, our tournament director, who's, as I said, done a nice job here. Again, a big lead for Chris Knapp. He's just been dominating this match. Larry's actually played a little better, and that happens in backgammon, right? Good play gets rewarded in the long run, but good dice are definitely more important in the short run. You know, the best players on the circuit will win about, when they're playing other, decent players, will win about 60% of their matches in an open section, right? The higher division of tournaments. Even the best players only win about 60% of their matches. So it's and to say nothing of how many tournaments you win. So definitely it's a game where luck can predominate in the short run, and in the long run, skill definitely pays off. We're just waiting. Our screen video feed appears to be freezing up a bit. Again, this is Jack Edelson here with voiceofbackgammon.com, which is Larry Shiller's endeavor. But Larry is of course playing, so he's not able to give commentary. So it's just me right now. And we're just waiting for the players to get moving, although I think they are playing by now. It's just a question of getting the video going, because the video seems to be frozen up.
Frank, I do have some, actually, just $40, so I think you really want to give it to me, didn't you? So I'll give you what I got. All I got is $41. So.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear. We're just waiting for the video feed to catch up.
How much US would that be? How much Canadian?
Roughly around 45, I'm guessing. All right, there you go. Far away.
That helps. If I can just do that 20 more times.
Yeah, I wish I could help you out, but I just can't.
That's fine.
All right.
Much appreciated.
Not a worry, not a worry.
Yes, I didn't know it was confirmed from the video.
Well, it was Ripose at first. I changed it.
I didn't know if he was expecting me.
Oh, I was expecting you.
I didn't
It's all right. You want to join? Or do you have something to
probably
do?
not this
All right.
game.
You sure? All right, that's fine. So 10 to lead, and and there seems to be some sort of technical mishap, unless everybody is just standing motionless in your pictures of the scene, which seems unlikely. We are having a video mishap, and hopefully that will be cleared up, and we can get you the next game of this match, which may be the final game if it goes to Chris Knapp. What else is there to do? So this is Jack Edelson with Voice of Backgammon, and I guess we got some time to fill, so I don't know, let's tell some jokes. Why did the chicken cross the road? Oh, you already know that one. Alright, I'll just wait here. La 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 la. The match could be over for all we know. But,
What's up?
what's up is what you see on your screen. A frozen picture. Roberto Litzenberger here joining us. Did you play your Masters final, Roberto?
Playing right now. It's not on break.
I know that you see the screens like it has what's his name? Larry standing there motionless with Ross Gordon. The feed cut out.
Oh, yeah.
Then what's the status of your Masters final, Roberto?
Well, right now the Masters final is going to be played. I'm going to be playing with Karen Davis. They want her to finish a 5-point match for the consolation first. For the last chance first, so that bracket will move along.
Makes sense.
And then I'm going to play Karen. And if this one's over, we will be streamed if it gets going.
Yeah. So
With animated creatures and everything, I'll try to get the same little creatures. And those are probably Chris Knapp's.
Oh, they are Chris Knapp. So Chris had the beaver and raccoon, and one of the staff gave him an aardvark. But so Roberto Litzenberger is here. I don't know if you could hear him. Although he's by the computer, so you probably could. That he's playing a Masters.
Oh no, it's still a frozen screen.
Roberto trying to add some levity to this situation. Hopefully, we'll be able to get you the next game in this match. Actually, Frank, if you don't mind, well, after you finish, you know what you're doing. If you can go in there, and if they finish this game, and the match is not over, let them know that the picture's frozen.
Frank, if you don't mind, can you stop eating all the food in here? I thought that's what he was going to say. He's like, Frank, can you stop in here? He's like, Frank, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll run in there in a second.
Yeah. There's Frank Frigo and there's Frank Freeloader.
Frank Free Food.
Oh, we're well into this game here. All of a sudden, the pictures come back. So obviously, there will be no XG transcription of this particular game. So Chris Knapp, we pick up. Chris Knapp is playing a backgammon here, which he doesn't really mind doing since gammon losses don't hurt him that much. It costs the free drop. It costs 0.6% winning chances, according to the bat equity table I was looking at earlier. Double ones for Larry to play. He's going to make the 8-point. He's going to hit. And probably doesn't matter a whole lot.
I need the 6 to play slot.
Yeah, so Roberto likes the 6 cover. So Roberto Litzenberger, I'm not sure if you could hear him. He's joining us. Yeah. No, just you're in that, so you speak up a bit when you speak. So Chris pops out with a 6. Here's a 6-3 to play, and do you hit here? Probably.
I get confused on who just rolled.
That's Chris's 6-3. No, that's Larry's 6-3. It's Larry's 6-3. White has the 6-3. So I would hit to prevent him from making that point.
Oh, and he doesn't have the 6 to cover there.
Yeah, you just play 14-8 or something.
Yeah, Chris does not have time, and if he doesn't jump out, his time is really questionable.
Yeah, if Larry can make the 9-point, it's going to be difficult. Especially if Larry can roll some negative numbers, and
Chris
he decides to hit him off the ace point. That's an interesting decision.
And there he goes.
2-4. That's a nice roll. Nice roll. He just needs his.
Did he get the 6?
No 6. That's a killer. That's a real killer. He still has a little time here. Doesn't have to bust up his board. But unless there's a quick 6.
Okay, not a hit here.
Well, you can't run, though, if you don't, but that's not as important.
Do it. I don't think I do.
Yeah, maybe not.
He doesn't get the 6.
Or hits. The fan. And no, double 4s is a bit of a killer. You can't be rolling that, but 3-4 he hits.
Oh.
Maybe a lucky break for Chris there, but he's in a lot of trouble.
He needs a 6 from the bar.
3-2, that busts another point. Chris is in a lot of trouble here, although it's not. Again, he still has a big back lead. That's not going to end, but it's definitely a big advantage for Chris. So 5-1 to play here. I could buy some as well. Yeah, I'll buy some too. Talk to me after the game. 6-1. He's going to clap out. Sorry, we had a little disruption here. 4-1 to play here. And again, no XG transcription in this game because we had a video mishap. But Chris just hanging on, trying to, hoping as hope that he can somehow turn this game around. Double fives for Larry. Again, this seems like the sort of game that Larry shouldn't have too much trouble. Yes, he might leave a shot, he might get hit, but Chris is a very long way. But Chris only has one dead checker, so if he manages to hit and keep getting lucky and managing to hit Larry as he gets around, he can slowly rebuild that board because he only has one dead checker. Still a very long ways off.
It is a big coup to be able to make the points in reverse order.
Yeah.
After you have a dead checker. That is, it is possible though. It is very demoralizing for the other person, but of course Larry doesn't matter. He could demoralize now because that would be the end of the match.
So the 3 hits, why not? Take away a slotted point. Double fives, dances. Now there is the outside chance, a very outside chance of a backgammon here, which would be useful to Larry because it gets him that 5th point that cuts down on the number of games he needs to win.
Yeah, this is essentially more of a backgammon go than a gammon go score.
Yeah. Yeah, the gammon has little value. The backgammon has about normal value. Double threes he hits if he wants to, which he should, and then just these are not positions where it's unlike the crystal win and the gammon doesn't matter too much. So what's happening here? You don't want to relax. You want to make the best plays you can, but the fact is the outcome of this game, in terms of what matters, is
I think Chris here
less doubt.
He has to come out with that 6 out
Yeah.
there. Even though I guess he's concerned he doesn't want to keep leaving shots.
I mean, what's the other play? 15-4.
Yeah, I think that's what he might be thinking.
And this has to be better.
That's what I do. Yeah.
It's not really picking you up. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. A 2-1 to play here for Larry, and yeah, not a huge decision. He can play. I don't know about 8-7. Why is that important? I guess he wants to have more flexibility. I can see the logic behind it. Yeah, not hugely important here. 5-2. He's gonna bring one in and just start trying to bear checkers off and get that gammon. 4-3. Chris should hit. That's the way to do it. You keep the 2 anchors. Double fives, it gets stuck. It's,
Wait, what? No.
What?
Illegal move.
that's not legal. That goes there. And Chris corrects it. This is
Sorry
not
about that, yeah.
a legal moves tournament. He's not obligated to correct it. Oh. Wait. Yeah. That is correct. Yeah.
What?
Is that?
Two.
Was there a blot on the 8 point? You play two when you play 2 from the 6 point. I think that's right.
Larry's cracking up.
Larry's been doing that a lot. You know, when you're way down in a match, you just say, you know what? I've had a good tournament, win or lose. I've had a good weekend, and you just laugh off your misfortune.
So I don't know what he's thinking. He has to jump out with the 4. He has to bring out another checker.
Yeah. So Roberto won. I don't know how well you can hear him. We're sharing one microphone here. Maybe I can leave it in the middle somewhere. And yeah, it seems to be picking me up pretty decently. And maybe this will be our arrangement here. We'll just sort of lean in towards this one microphone we're sharing. 4-2 to play. That's for just safety up a block. Just have one block to play with. I like that. 3-1.
3-1.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep that going, and you and hit with whatever number while keeping your anchors. That hits.
It's tough. Chris just doesn't have his pieces distributed that well out there. So
for the commentators, we sort of want to get this game over with and get on to the next one where these plays matter a bit more. But of course, these players have to play it out, and the fact is that if there is a big set here, especially if Chris fans here, there are gammons in the air. He's got 9 crossovers to get off the gammon, and if Larry takes 4 off, as I think he should, because he's likely to win no matter what.
he has to take 4
Well,
off.
maybe not. He takes 3 off. He keeps an extra home point. His opponent dances more, but and it's safer. But this play works out, and there are real backgammon chances all of a sudden. That is an illegal play. He played 2 6s. They corrected.
Yeah.
And that's the right play. You want to let's keep bringing the back guys out. 6-2 takes 2
6-2.
off, and this is
Ooh.
really backgammonish. This is really backgammon. Chris is going to take what? Why not come out from the back? You're wasting a pip in the race to save the backgammon. That is wrong.
He got an extra crossover out of it.
No, if he takes 4-1, he could have gotten the same number of crossovers, but
Yeah, he could have.
take it out from the back. That could not have been right. 3, 6. I say you keep taking them out. And he could have had one more pip in this race. 5-3 leaves a double shot. The backgammon danger is mostly averted here, and now the double 2s hits.
Oh, mini snake.
And now this
mini
game is going to take another 3 hours. He can actually spread out
There you go.
his checkers
Mini
perfectly.
snake.
This is going to avoid any random shots here. So anything except for 2-1 hits. So let's see a 2-1, guys. 6-5. I'd make it.
Hit from the back. Oh, you can't hit from the. Yeah, you can hit from the
Oh
back.
yeah, you
piece.
can hit. Can you hit from the back?
Yeah.
Yeah, hit from the back then. You keep your 4 prime. Larry's laughing, and
Oh,
double
double
6s, it
six.
gets stuck over
Blocked.
there. Now any roll hits. And wow, he hits!
He did it.
36 out of 36 hit, and you imagine, I might consider blocking 6s. Oh, they're blocked anyway, and he gets a chance to pick up a second checker on that. These guys are know that they've got a long game out ahead of them. They know that the very, very likely outcome is that Larry wins the game, but
Well,
Chris has some chances.
Chris should really actively play to pick up that checker,
Yeah.
actually.
But what he doesn't want is to leave, say, a number where, say, Larry can hit 3 in one roll, and then the backgammon's back on.
Yeah. And he wants to keep blocking 6s if he can.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you got you don't. It's a common error in containment game to worry too much about blocking a single number. But when you've got amazing coverage, and the only way that your opponent can get past you is by rolling the joker double 6s or double 5s, then you can block them.
Yeah.
Larry correctly covers his ace point, make it harder for some accent to happen where Larry's forced to hit, and then Chris Knapp picks up the second checker.
Well, we know for those super jokers, on every one roll, it's just, a 2.8, like a 3% chance to do it. But in this kind of long games, if something's not blocked, his chances in 25 rolls of rolling the double 6s are, he's a favorite to do so.
So 6-4 to play here. And how will he play it?
Hit.
He hits. And let's see how he plays the what's the number that he has to play now? 4?
4.
No. Anything but that. I understand he doesn't want to get backgammon, but he doesn't really care that much if he gets gammoned. 6-4 misses the blot. This is not good. This is a consequence. You buried a checker. Now you may have to bury more. Maybe 17 to 13 here to avoid giving him double sixes. Does give him 6-5 though. This is very reasonable. Double sixes. Now 3s, 5s, and 6s, or anything but double 4s works. That's 6-2.
And that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good play, I think. 5-4. 6-3.
Let's make the 9 point. Yeah.
Yep. Making some sort of block. Now 1s, 2s, 6s, 8s, 10s, and 11s. That should cover most of the numbers. That's a 6 or a 10. So he comes down with the 6 and hits.
And
then probably 18, 15, 11.
no, I'd
Or
bring
18,
that-
14.
Break that. Yeah. What's that? The 13.
Or you like 17, 13?
Yeah.
It's
17-13 gives that direct cover on the 6.
yeah, the only thing
and
is hit fan
diversifies.
can be ugly, and you are a bit concerned about hit fan if you're Chris. Double sixes hits from the bar. Now Chris is definitely thinking about, can I win this game, which would just be how this match has gone for Larry.
18-12 here. I do 18-12.
That's 14-8 instead. Now 2s, 3s, and 4s. Double sixes also makes the 5 point.
Yeah, there you go.
That's not bad at all. And now if Larry stays out or fails to escape, 4-3, 5-3. He fails to escape, and now Chris Knapp has him get 6-5 points on him.
I think Chris is really missing that extra checker now.
Yeah, he definitely is paying the price for having buried a checker unnecessarily, in our opinion, on his 2 point. He had a containment game with lots of checkers to play with. He had lots of options to not bury a checker, and he chose to do so.
Well, he has to hit.
It seems like he would have to hit again. The gammon is not that much of a concern. If Chris loses a gammon, it doesn't matter as much as the normal scores. The backgammon does hurt him, but he shouldn't be panicking over it. So Chris calmly makes hits and cleans up a couple of blots just in case of disaster. 4-2 hits, a nice roll for Mr. Shiller.
2-1s hit now. 2-1.
3-3 does not. It does hit. Yes, it does. Very nice. Comes all the way around and hits. And now he's set
really
to try
wants
to
a
make
dance
the point.
here.
And he gets the dance. Jesus. Chris definitely regrets having buried the checker, but he's doing all right here. The problem is that even if Chris manages to close out Larry is still the favorite with 9 checkers off. Even with perfect distribution, Chris would have around 60%, but Larry would have about 60%, but Chris does not have perfect distribution because he has 2 checkers buried deeper than he'd like.
So here you want to split. You don't want to block the 7 point here. You want a bit more options.
Right. At the same time, playing 18 to 14 guarantees you a direct shot if Larry pops out. Unless it's, except for 4-4.
If you're worried about backgammon, you could slot and put one up.
There may be something to be said for playing 7-6, 7-5, 18 to 17, so you still get a shot on double 4s.
I think you have to slot here, actually.
Oh yeah, you're right. Slotting.
I'd go 7. If you're concerned about the double hit, I'd go 7-6, 7-4.
Yeah, that may be the best idea. You avoid the double hit while still getting the constructive gain of slotting.
Yeah, you're worried about the double hit for the backgammon, basically.
Yeah, but
So,
you could over panic about the backgammon too. So this is probably the best non-slotting play,
yeah.
I think. 3-2 fans, and now Chris Knapp. Oh no, that's
Chris. I think you have to slot here. You have to try to win. He can't. Any
Yeah.
four, he's gonna win.
Yeah,
if
you're not really panicked about the
It's a
backgammon.
2-point board.
Yeah,
have
you
to
want
slot.
to not take
There you
silly.
go.
Why?
Oh, no,
Why? What? No, you can't bury a third checker. I don't understand some of these ideas here.
Do you think Chris might be afraid of the gammon? He's not thinking of that. I mean,
And Chris should know. Chris is a good enough player. He should know the match score the gammon doesn't matter. But after a long weekend, mistakes happen. So a 3-2 to play here. I would slot and play 17-14. And if you don't slot, you just play 17-12. You don't kill checkers for no reason. You never know. Maybe you'll roll double ones, 2-1.
I just think you have to slot.
I agree
I don't
with
think anything else besides slotting. If you have to play to win. You're not worried about gammons. How can you win if you don't cover that point?
Yeah, and this is probably a bit too conservative on Chris's part. 5-3.
Perfect slotting play.
Again, you slot. You might figure, okay, slotting is less important now. So maybe here you play 11, 12, 7, 6-3. Because you're running out of time to make the 4-point. But yeah, I think you still want to slot because your opponent comes in, you don't mind getting hit. Because you're going to lose anyway. So I would slot again. I would still slot. 6-2.
Oh, now just pull it off the checker now. Move the 6 and pull the 2. Not going to make it anymore.
That's clear. Why don't you hold on, I can protect that. 5-3 takes 2 off. 6-3 and then Larry is like, what is happening to me? You see his facial expression there. 6-4 seems very clear. No reason to give up the 4-point board. Yeah, I mean, I know if Larry rolls a 6, he might.
Oh.
So that should be good for Larry.
Unless it doubles. I mean, doubles will really help Chris here.
Yes, it is good to roll doubles when you're in a race. 5-2, okay. Larry still has the advantage. That's an important 2 crossovers there for Larry. He doesn't precisely need them, but Larry's doing well here for this game anyway.
Okay.
6-2. Chris needs a set, and there's no set there. Larry on roll. Larry rolls 2-1, and Chris can win the match right now with a set. And does he roll it? That is not a set, and Larry lives to fight another day. So I'm just going to enter as Larry making the 5-point, and then Chris Knapp resigning a single game. Because we had no video feed for that game. So these PRs you see for the match, they're not accurate because they're missing a really, really, really long, difficult game. So we can no longer rely on those PRs as an accurate assessment of the whole match, but they are an accurate assessment of everything but the 5th game of the match. So the 10-3 lead. It seems like the player's on the break. You can hold the fort down for a minute, Roberto. I'll be right back. Thanks to our sponsors again, the United States Backgammon Federation, and to GammonStuff.com, both great resources for backgammon in many, many ways. So check them out. Both players are going to be on break, and I will be right back. I leave you in the able hands of Roberto Litzenberger in case I should be back before any more play.
Yeah, I will have to leave and play the Masters final. So anything I criticize or talk about how everyone's mistakes or blunders will come right back at me in a few minutes, where everyone looks and says, "What's Roberto thinking?" No, it's amazing how, he was able to, Chris was able to kind of re-tick it back, get the numbers, get the mini snake going. I think the buried checkers really hurt in the end, just first having the one.
He came within a roll.
Yeah. Yeah, any double would have, with any doubles, he would have been able to, just win the match directly right there. What's this now? 1 away, 8 away, post Crawford. So, what's that? 5, 7, 9, 11. 4, but with gammons. Do you know the post, Frank? Do you have the post Crawford equities down? 1 away, 8 away. Not something we normally have to calculate in the head, the post Crawford equities.
I forget all
Well, you have to win 4 matches unless there's gammons involved. Because you're going to be doubling, right away at this score. So 4 matches in a row. 1 match is 50%, 2 is 25, 3 is 12.5. That'd be 6 1/4. But you have the gammon chances on all 4 of the matches, so has to be around 12% or something. In one of those matches, you're normally going to get a gammon on average or something. Yeah, he does have a free drop. So let's talk about the free drop now, when it's so far away, when you'd actually use it or not use the free drop. Normally, if you just have 1 game to go, so if it was, 10-9, rely on any roll that you don't get the opening roll. And if you do get the opening roll with a 4-1, you take the free drop. But at this score, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to use the free drop. So if some really mediocre rolls, if Larry starts up with a 4-1 or something, he might very well just take afterwards.
And so we have Roberto Litzenberger here. Roberto will be playing a Masters final against Karen Davis very soon, probably sometime after this is over, or maybe even before that.
Yeah, it might be before this.
If this
ends soon.
If this match gets done soon, and it gets done before Roberto and Karen Davis play, we will have that streaming, and hopefully we'll have live commentary on it. Larry Shiller, I would think, would be available. I would be available for part of it. I have a 2:00 airport shuttle. I'm glad I did not do well in this tournament, because I would just have I would be missing my flight. No. I'm not glad I didn't do well in this tournament. So we're here just waiting
Jack's
for the players' break.
when he doesn't do well in the tournament. We like to. I'm going to re-quote him on that in the future when I see him.
Yes. Well, I did not do well in San Jose a couple of weeks either, and my friend Roberto here contributed to that by soundly beating me in our match, which ended my tournament. So we're I see Alan Grunwald in the picture.
Yeah, it stops being quite exciting when no one's playing and we just sit around talking in the break room.
Yeah.
Can we see how many is there? Can we see commentary? Is there people streaming? Is there people watching this?
I don't have an easy way to pull it up.
Roberto, Jack would know the match equity numbers post Crawford, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Post Crawford, I wouldn't. There's no real reason for a player to remember post Crawford match equities, but I can pull it up right now. I think, it's 10. I saw it. It's 10 and change. It's like 10.8, 10 point something like that.
Yeah.
So the chance of winning this match is 10.91. A single game here would get him to 11.56 because that single game doesn't matter much.
Yeah.
Winning 2 points gets him up to 18.07.
That was close to my guess.
If Larry rolls a 3-1 right off the hop, does he hold off on queuing for a sec?
Is he too good? Maybe can be technically too good if Larry rolls a 3-1 and Chris rolls something bad, but knowing when to cash out is difficult.
It is a fun exercise to do. It is a fun exercise to do, though, when you're playing to kind of pass the ball to the other person. Obviously, if it's a 3-1, I would hold off. If it's a 3-1 and then he gets a 4-1, you might as well hold off and take another roll and see what happens.
Yeah.
Guard used to do stuff like that.
I think a lot of people do stuff like that. You know, it's technically correct. You know, you just have to be careful that you don't have a lot of rolls that let your opponent take. You know, it's similar to a regular cube decision, right? You're thinking about when a too good decision.
But you're not worried if their opponent takes,
right?
Because it's just a free drop.
Right, but you want to give him a chance to have a better position, right? His take point is close to 50%. It's like a too good decision with a really weird take point, basically, or with a very high gammon value, you know.
Yeah.
Or high value winning the second point versus the first.
Yeah, so it would just get down if you feel that you're better estimating that 50% take point more than the opponent.
Yeah. So again, we're here with the voice of Backgammon. It's Jack Edelson with Roberto Litzenberger. This is Larry Shiller's website, Larry Shiller's endeavor, but given that he is playing, he's not here doing commentary. Instead, we've got me and Roberto. Roberto is in the Masters final, so he clearly knows what he's doing. I've done nothing, but that happens sometimes at tournaments, even if you do know what you're doing. So both players just having a little conversation. Hopefully we can get going pretty soon. Larry hoping for the long and crazy comeback. Chris doesn't want any drama. You know, he's Canadian. He doesn't want any drama. You know how they are. No, I kid. So maybe they're discussing the previous game. Looks like. I just want to have something to talk about here. You know, I'm not happy if I'm not talking. So let's see what happens. And we're off. And it's a 6-5 for Chris Knapp. A nice start when you're ahead in the game, trying to win, not have much gammon risk. Nice to get that one checker going. Slotting is correct here, for sure. Here I just play simple. This is one of the simple options. Stepping up was another option. 5-2 makes the 3-point. He'll make the 5. Both players making very natural plays.
Double 5.
You're pointing away from yourself. So the dice got docile there, but it is a double 5, and this is the play Larry is looking at, which seems like the right play. Chris rolled 5 forward response. Sorry. Enter with the 4 and lift the blot, I think. Or you could play 5 down. But I'd lift up the blot. He's getting attacked. So when you're being attacked, you want to sort of clean up blots. I don't agree with this, but it's right. It's right, according to the bot. Chris, these guys know a thing or two about the game. It would have been a small error to lift the blot, not huge. 0.03. Sixes are played correctly by Larry. Making points, getting out of the back, getting the back checkers out is important. Ace hits, 5 in. That seems like the right play. Actually, maybe not. Apparently, hitting and then coming out would have been better than lifting the block. You
So
need
what's
to
this?
get the back checker moving.
I'd come in with the 2 and hit with the 4
Yeah, I agree
here.
with you. That's a much better distribution, much more covers. But the bot likes his play. They were virtually tied. .006. Either way. Now Chris wants to hit 2. He's just a bit concerned about the fact that winning a gammon doesn't help him, but this seems pretty clear. You got to try to win the game. And this is how you win the game, is you hit 2 and you hope that your opponent doesn't hit you back and you're able to build some points. Double 5 makes the 3-point.
3-point and jump out. No.
Yeah, that seems logical. Makes the 3-point and hops out. I like that play. Roberto likes that play. XG likes that play. Everybody likes that play. So 6-4, good roll, and then he hits and just jumps out. Pretty clear.
Chris
52, nice,
gets the
nice
return.
roll. He gets the hit return shot. And that's a bounce, and Chris now has a nice advantage. 6-5, doesn't do it a lot, but it's constructive. It makes the 10-point and it pops out. It's a constructive roll, keeps things moving forward. And the 4-3. Do you do this? Probably. Yeah, that's right. Doesn't have any reason to stay back.
What did you hear? Go ahead and make the 4-point.
So there's no totally safe play. Making the 4-point does make 2 blocks, but it's constructive. He can play 15-13, 8-2 hitting. That's also a 2-bot play, and it's not as constructive.
If you make the 4-point, it's going to be really hard for Larry to carry out kind of a blitz with the 4 points made. There he goes. Yeah.
I like this play. No, it's actually wrong by a little bit. Should he have hit? He should have played 15-9, 5-3 last turn. That's a play I wouldn't have seen. He gets hit and he keeps it going. No time to look back. The pass right now. 6-4 is a great roll. Really great roll. Chris well in control. 4-1. 4-1 to play, and he comes down. Safe. Normal. 6-4. I guess the only way not to leave a direct shot is to play 15-5. Come all the way around with one of the back checkers. He can hit as well.
I think it's reasonable to
Just,
play around.
I would, first play, right? Bring him into the 5-point. What other play is there?
Yeah.
So Herb Roman agrees that coming around 15-5 is best. Chris is probably looking at hitting, but it doesn't seem necessary.
Yeah, I don't.
And this is right. Chris's play. Hitting would have been severely wrong.
Yeah, you don't want to. He's up in the race.
4-2.
Bring it home.
Yeah, you like Herb is saying, right? Herb
Now,
knows this game. You're well ahead in the race. You play safe and you bring it home. So it's a 6-2 again.
to the 9 and to the 2, right? What else can you do?
So he comes down and plays to the 3-point. Very reasonable. Double 3s. Makes the 2-point. Now Larry's building a bit of a board, so could very easily have one shot to turn this game around. And 41, so he's going to probably play safe,
Yeah.
play nice and safe. Don't take any unnecessary risks right now. 3-2 slots. He's going to try to build a board and turn it around. That's got to be right. It's wrong according to the bot. That's surprising. The bot preferred 7-4-6-4. So in that position, just playing
Leave in the
7-4,
six.
6-4, leave the 6 point.
6 or something?
Yeah. Switch the
Yeah.
4.
I'm saving a 6 so that he doesn't have to run off of the bar with a 6. That's an interesting play. Very easy for humans to miss it.
Yeah.
6-2, 4-1. Not a huge error, but very easy to miss. 5-1, that is a shot, so you might. Oh, you can clear the 6 point, but that is a bit of a chicken play, but it's. Chris may be a little worried about getting gammoned, although.
It's more hits, right? But it's a pay now, pay later.
The gammon value is a bit high for white. It's base. It's
2/3,
it's
0.6,
0.715.
0.715, so
According, so that's
2/3.
for a normal game. The gammon value is 0.5. So it is a bit.
Let 'em play.
The gammon is a little more important than usual for Larry. Was what that
He
means
needs
in
a
layman's
5 to
terms.
get out and 5 to hit, and I let him play. And
So Herb suggests duplicating the 5s.
Yeah.
Larry is behind in the race by 18 pips though, so duplicating the get out number is a little
I
less.
would-
important.
Who's behind?
Larry will
Yeah.
be down 18
I'm-
after the roll.
I would pay now. It's a kind of a pay now, pay later situation. Less blots.
him?
No, not hit.
no,
Yeah, not hit.
If he hits back and you got an extra blot out there, you can get.
So our friend XG likes playing 2 down. The safe play is second best, and the hit is third best. Well, breaking
No,
the
no, I
6
was saying
is-
bringing down the 2 checkers from the midpoint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that seems best.
and pay now. Yeah.
Yeah, you bring
And by
down.
the way, his board cracks if he doesn't, you know, if he doesn't roll a 5, where's he going?
Yes, this
Yeah.
is the advantage of not hitting is that you're, as Herb Roman is saying here, and Roberto is saying, you let the other guy play because any roll that doesn't hit or
Right.
jump out is destructive to
And-
Larry's position.
And the hits,
By
the
not
gammons of the
This is
hits
not
go
that
way
bad. This is
down.
not that bad because
Really?
it doesn't leave a shot. It's not right, but it's not that bad.
I would
6-3 is forced here. This is not a.
I was just thinking with 2 buried checkers in the open 4 point, even if you got
Yeah,
closed
right.
out, your
What was
gammons
the last
go
roll?
way
What was the
down.
last roll?
4-2, I think.
4-2 hit.
It's-
And now another 4-2.
we could play this right. What is it?
Plays this safe, 6-2.
6-2 so far.
Just hoping for the board to bust here.
Yeah.
Really hoping for
6-4 gets out. Forced. That's avoids any crackage. 5-2.
Two
That's
makes
a shot
it.
number. No, it's not. It leaves the fly, but that's a good roll. Whoa! We saw the ace, but there was no other. There was no 6 with it. 3-2, 3-2, and Chris Knapp is trying to bring this home. I would avoid leaving the immediate shot here.
Just play
Just play
safe.
safe.
Just, yeah,
All the way in. That's
why
not.
would you do that?
That's
Doubles leaves
and then a fan.
later.
6-4, good roll.
Now he's good.
5-1. It's going to be tough to win the race, and even tougher to hit a shot here. There's double ones. I clear the 5 point, and the last. I didn't have the last roll.
Yeah, take 2.
Yeah, so double ones you clear and you take 2 off. Seems solid. Larry fans with double 4s. 5-4 takes 2 off. Chris well in command, and Chris very likely to be our 2017 inaugural Montreal Open champion.
And very nice. It went to a Canadian. First ABT tour out
Let's
here.
not call it yet, but
The wrong Canadian though.
Uh-huh.
so Pat McNeil apparently who's here wants
Yeah.
to win it himself.
Remember the War of 1812?
He still says A.
Chris?
Yeah, he says A's. He's got some of that, yeah.
You do this.
And Rick Larry concedes.
I'll share one.
Chris Knapp is our 2017, puts his hands up in the air, he's our 2017 Montreal Open champion, a very, very worthy champion, a very, very fine human being as well. So congratulations to Chris Knapp. Well done. And congratulations to the voice of Backgammon, Larry Shiller as well. Jack Edelson here with Roberto Litzenberger signing off for now. Tune in later. We will bring you the Masters final very shortly.
Good job, Jack.
Yeah, very nice job.
Thank you.
You've done this before.
I didn't say